Hollow Knight is more than an excellent Metroidvania with Souls-like game mechanics. It's a game that has deep and rich lore that takes time to piece together through various interactions, descriptions, and even the backgrounds themselves. But while playing through the beginning of the game, I couldn't help but notice something else. Something bigger. Something that relates to all of us. I found that at the core of all of it, this game shows how a lack of self-awareness, lack of independent thought, lack of questioning our way of seeing things can ultimately lead to our own downfall. When was the last time you asked yourself, why do I think the way I think? Where did I learn this from? Is it serving me and helping others, or something else? See, the first thing is a lot of people haven't actually taken the time to build a level of self-awareness by even asking a simple question like that. See, it's those kinds of questions that you probably don't think about every day, or even in a year, or ever. There's plenty of people out there who never question the way that they themselves think. Now, it doesn't have to do with right or wrong, good or bad, but simply why? Why do you think the way that you think? Who taught you? Did you teach yourself? Did you learn from a place you actually wanted to learn from? Or did it just happen unintentionally? It's thoughts like these that will be the beginning of the stepping stones of becoming self-aware of who you are, and ultimately who you want to be and who you are going to become based on what you're doing and the way of how you think. Now, referring back to the question of where did I learn this from? Think about everyone around you, all the association and relationships that you've had, groups, organizations, schools, every part of a relationship or a person-to-person, human-to-human dynamic that you've ever been in. And then think to yourself, out of all those types of people that I've met or chose to hang around, or, if it's school or work, sometimes you're forced to be around them, good or bad, whether you like them or not, you still have to be there for whatever reason. But have you thought about the lifestyle they lived, and if you want to live that same lifestyle? Because when you think about it, when you let others or the settle for lifestyle start to define you, it'll really pull you away from what will actually bring you peace in your life. Now, define the settle for lifestyle as people who have settled for something. Maybe it's someone who wanted to be a great actor, but they settled just for taking an improv class and left it at that. Well, maybe it's people who, maybe if this is you, or like you, maybe it's people who wanted to become YouTubers or Twitch streamers, content creators of any nature, artists of any nature, but they settled for putting art on the side because they had to settle for something else in order to make a living. Now, for some people, when I mention the settle for lifestyle, they might get upset because they chose to settle for. But you really got to think to yourself, did you really choose, or did you let the people around you choose for you? There's a difference between, hey, I have to put this aside briefly for a moment to work on something else, versus everyone around you had been settling, and you decided to settle along with them, unintentionally. Because when you do that, that's when you find yourself 4, 5, 6 years down the road saying, man, I wish I'd just taken that leap and done X, Y, Z. And then there goes your peace. Your peace is gone. Now you're full of regret, but you don't want that. That's the reason why self-awareness is so important, and why a lack of it will ultimately lead to your downfall in a sense. The relationships you choose will also create a social mirror to where it's not necessarily who you are that's actually reflected back to you. It's who people think you are reflected back to you. And if you haven't picked a good group of friends or a core group of people you want to be with, well, then all of their insecurities are then reflected onto you, and then you, thinking you're looking at a mirror, you're actually looking at a funhouse mirror with a distorted picture of your true reflection. The thing is, you'll never know that you're looking at a distorted image unless you're self-aware enough so you start asking yourself some of those questions. At this point, you might be thinking to yourself, well, how do I even define self-awareness? What really is self-awareness? Well, I invite you to go through an exercise with me. That was actually in a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it was a highly effective exercise. Imagine yourself right now, you've projected yourself into the corner of the room, and you're looking at yourself in your mind's eye right now. You looking down on yourself, sitting there on your chair, looking at your monitor, your TV, your cell phone, whatever it may be. And can you look at yourself and almost see yourself as if you're another person? What mood are you in? What are you feeling? What is your mental state? Now, going through that exercise where you're imagining yourself feeling and like what you think you're feeling, what you think you're seeing, is something that's actually uniquely human. See, animals don't possess that type of ability. Only humans do. that ability to pull themselves out of their circumstance mentally, to look at themselves and see, what am I actually looking at? Who am I looking at here? And that is a foundation of self-awareness. So if you take away anything from this at all, understand, how are you really seeing yourself? And are you seeing yourself accurately? Have you taken the moment just to see yourself from that third person point of view? Now, self-awareness, once you have it, is the beginning of change. And it sounds like some magical thing that you quest for and get, but really, it's as simple as just asking yourself those questions and looking at yourself from the third person, seeing who you see. That's the beginning of self-awareness. And once you have started that habit, you can't close the door. See, now you have a responsibility to yourself, to your friends, to your family, to everyone you interact with, to do something about it. Now, yes, you could choose to take that self-awareness and just let it go, continue on with your life, but I don't think that's you. In fact, I think now that you have some self-awareness, and if you already had self-awareness, you're now even more aware, and now you can do even more with your life and be even more responsible for yourself, your actions, your results, everything in your life. You now have power over you. But guess what? You're going to have to fight someone very important in order to keep that power. And can you guess who that person is? That person is you. You will at some point have to fight yourself in order to keep growing and progressing. Because you found out who you are. But the you, who is based on everyone else's perceptions and insecurities and people who haven't really thought about, why do I do the things that I do? Just doing the status quo, all of that has turned almost into another you. And you're going to have to fight that you. So the you who is truly you can do you. So go do you. And you're going to fight yourself to do it. Now with that responsibility, you wrestled yourself, you wrestled all that negative, that gunk that maybe was placed on you, or even just stuff that was settled for, or just wasn't in the direction you actually really want to go with your life. You're going to wrestle yourself over that, get more responsibility for yourself, but then what will you do with that? Because the next step is going to be, you got to choose to hold yourself accountable and take ownership of your outcomes. So you've started taking responsibility for yourself and your self-awareness and your actions, but now you can be accountable and take ownership of your outcomes. You can truly own what you're doing now. So instead of feeling at the whims of other people, you now own your outcomes. You're at your own whim. And yes, it's going to be a struggle. You're going to have to fight against distractions and mediocrity or the settle for lifestyle trying to pull you back down. But I know you can do it. See, because ultimately, understand you decide your results in life. And it may not feel like it now, but I'm telling you that that's how it is. You can decide your results for your life. All of that. The vision for who you want to be, everything. You can control those results. Ultimately, it comes down to this. And this is a question that was posed in the thumbnails. Who are you? And that's the beauty of it. You decide who you are. And that starts today. Sometimes that could be a bit tricky and could take some time to grow in. Maybe this video right here will help you be able to get on the right track. So smash that video like a bug and keep on growing. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments who you will choose to be, and I'll see you soon.